Hello. Today is a Friday Q&A, and I'm Doug Cunnington. We're going to talk about Amazon affiliate niche sites and keyword research and whatever questions you have. I see there are a bunch of people on. I hope that you could hear me. A lot of times you can hear me. Oh yeah, I can hear myself now. That is good. That's nice. All right, couple quick announcements. Number one, I want to thank John. He sent an Amazon gift card, and we're all enjoying it right now because I got a new webcam with it. So that was awesome, John. Thank you. Quick shout out for you, and hopefully slightly higher quality, video here. It should be. It looks like I'm kind of washed out. I'm not sure with the lighting. I don't know if I need more or less. What the situation? I look a little bit like a ghost. Some of the shine you're just not ever going to get away from, but we're doing what we can. But thanks, John. Really appreciate it. And that is super cool that you sent that over. Appreciate it. Now, yeah, so I am a little washed out. Let me try and adjust the lighting here. I'm unsure what to do. That a little better? Okay. That's a little bit better. Cool. All right. I'm going to say hello to some people. Nigel has a question already. And I'll come to that in a second. I see hi. We have Rose, Jaren, what's up? We have Patrick, and you remember to tune in for live video. That's cool. Success roller coaster. We have Tony. What's up, Tony? Good to have you on. Stuart, Mark, Wesley, a lot of folks, usual suspects. Thomas, Lance, thanks for being here. And Overdose, cool. Tismy's on as well. So a couple of the announcements. Yeah, I think that lighting is a little bit better here now. So a couple of announcements. Number one, next week is when the free mini course is coming out. So if you're not on the email list already, there is a link that you could follow, and it's in the description. So sign up for the email list. It's a 3-part, mini course. It comes out via email. It's free, and all you have to do is be on the email list. I think if you've been on the email list for a little while, you may have seen this before, and people really enjoy it. So I recommend you check it out. I go over mindset, early on, and sort of take you through like what you need to think about before you start a niche site, or if you already have one going, sort of how to approach it and reframe what you're working on to picking a niche and or finding other products to put on your site if you haven't already found a niche. So be sure you pay attention to that. And in a couple weeks, 5-figure niche site, that's my premium course, will be open for enrollment. So if you're interested in like learning more and working with me, be sure you're also on the email list, and you'll hear about that. And that's in a couple weeks. We had a couple questions sent in ahead of time. I'll look at those. Additionally, if you have questions, I will answer them. So go ahead and start putting them in the chat, and we'll get to it now. So Nigel says, can I give a profile of one of my sites, not the niche, but the number of posts, the number of guest posts to the site, average daily traffic, average traffic to the top page, all that stuff? Generally, no. I can tell you some generic stuff. Thing is, I don't have that data at the top of my mind. I don't know it off the top of my head. And if it is something that is interesting, like one thing that I am looking at, because there are so many people that show up to these, and actually a number of people want to somehow, like, they don't want to enroll in the course that I have, 5-figure niche site, but they want to like support me somehow. I may have a smaller group, and we'll just test this out probably in a month or two once my course launch is all finished. But basically, to have like a group where we can do teardowns, I could provide you with like more information, like the stuff you're asking for here, Nigel, and it'll be like $30 a month or something like that. So I haven't, done that sort of a model before, but there are enough people, and I'm spending so much time doing these live streams that at some point, like at some point I need to like draw a line and answer interesting questions. Marcel, one of the other folks that is often on these live streams. He had a great recommendation. I haven't had a chance to reply back to your email, but basically it was, and I've thought about this, but I haven't implemented it in the way that Marcel has suggested, but it's a, frequently asked questions area. So when we get, and I know a lot of people are on here often, when we get the standard question, I published this article and it's not ranking, what do I do? Well, I can give a very short answer and then just tell them to follow the link to the frequently asked question playlist, and then they can go through. Because basically what's happening is we're not answering interesting questions for about half of them, and they're questions that I've already answered before. I'm pretty patient, but at some point it's just boring, right? And the other part is, yeah, well, it's mainly just boring. So it's selfish for me, but I also know that a lot of people are more advanced, right? So someone emailed me yesterday. I haven't had a chance to answer that. Brian, I think is his name, but really nice email, introduced himself, and he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know there's a lot of advanced people in the audience, and we're a little quiet, but we like what you're doing, and you know." It'd be interesting to cover more advanced topics. So anyway, Nigel, here, that is a long way to not answer any part of your question yet. Number of posts, few hundred, right? So this is just one site, few hundred, and number of guest posts to the site, several dozen, right? Could be, I think it's not, may or may not be in the triple digits. I'm not sure. Several dozen. Average daily traffic, potentially anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 or so. Traffic to the top page, I'm not really sure. Probably around 1,000 or something like that. Traffic, average daily Amazon earnings, several $100s. So it's probably not that helpful. And even if I had exact numbers, it may or may not be helpful either. So just know that there's a full range from, people that are just getting started and having like, a smaller set of metrics that I just threw out, or like many times that. So it really depends on like the amount of experience that a person has. That seems to be sort of not the limiting, but that's sort of the factor. So like if you know what to work on and you know how to like scale certain things, you could do everything like much faster. So, like I said, Nigel, sorry I can't really answer that directly. All right, Lisa's on. Alwyn, good to have you on too. Mark says, for keyword golden ratio titles, exact match or add flair. I usually do a little of both. I was talking to someone else earlier today, and we're usually doing this at volume. So I usually have like some variations. Sometimes if it's more interesting, like if you could have a more compelling title to maybe get someone to click that link, that's probably better than not. So. All right. Prep Mesh, what's up? Let's see. Simon, good to have you on. All right, Patrick has a question. You have a niche that has some good keyword golden ratio keywords that are location focused. Best whatever in San Diego, best whatever in Houston. The post would contain 80% of the same content, and then the last 20% would be changed for each location. Is that advisable or not? So first of all, I don't have any sites like that, so I'm not really sure. So I can't speak like with direct experience or anything like that. However, I would say, can you not write it more original? It'd be better, right? So as a rule, it'd be better to have more original content and not like duplication or like super derivative. It'd be better, right? Sometimes it's unavoidable, but if you could figure out how to do it, then that'd be better. If you can't figure out how to do it, you can try it and see what happens and then adjust afterwards. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Um, I know a lot of local like type sites may have that sort of model. And I think, as I mentioned, it's just better not to have like duplicated content throughout your site. Hiking Gear Lab, what's up? Okay, Rose says you found a keyword with some searches and some number of results, and so on and so forth. And you're asking, do I think you could rank for it with 1,000 words? I don't know. No clue. But Rose, what you can do is write it, publish it with 1,000 words, see what happens. And if it doesn't rank, you can add more to it. So there's no way to really know without trying. There are way too many factors involved. So you can't, I can't just as a blanket statement say, yeah or no. Yeah. So, and I'm trying to figure out. So the second part of the question is, and if you add just a year, it's 8,100 monthly searches with 70. Okay. Anyway, yeah, my answer still stands. Try it with 1,000 words, see how it goes, and then you can adjust from there. That's the only way to really know. And Mark is asking, back to the previous question, whether or not like the exact match affects ranking. I'm not 100% sure. I would suspect that there are like opposing factors in play, right? So, or maybe not opposing, but multiple factors where like if you have a compelling, like a better title that gets more people to click on it, that could help the rankings, right? So if more people are clicking through, then that's good versus like the exact match for the keyword. I'm not really sure. I think it probably has more to do with like the click through and if you're like answering the person well. Arthur's on. What's up? Okay, Patrick says you were thinking of doing a landing page style so the main site didn't look so spammy. Gotcha. And what I would do probably is like find someone that has such a model and then see what they do. Like you would want to make sure you're like looking across and doing research for several sites and see what like the standard is. I mean, I think that sort of is a standard. It's just not the model I'm working on. Greg says you found a keyword with 1 to 4,000 monthly searches on Keyword Finder with easy rank tag, but the KGR is quite big. Should I waste my time for articles for them or what to do? So I would just stick with the KGR because it works. So I would just stick with that. But the trend that we're going to see with apparently all the answers today is why don't you write an article and publish it and then see what happens, and then you tell me if it worked or not, because I don't know. I've never used Keyword Finder, and I would be suspect if it's easy to rank, but maybe it's exactly right. I don't know. I'm not sure. So Greg, try it. All right. Simon says you changed your affiliate content based homepage to a magazine style, and it's allowed my best XYZ article to rise in the rankings. I guess they were competing. Cheers, bud. You're getting sales. Simon, that's fantastic. That is a good. Oh, can you tell us, Simon, like like did you lose rankings at any point, or did it just move up as soon as you moved it the content over? That's super cool. This is what I try and tell people, but people don't believe me. All right. And Lisa is talking about the best weather right now. And, like today here in Bozeman, it was like 14 degrees and it's like 40-mile-an-hour winds and it's snowing. I mean, it's a mess. It's real. I had to wear ski goggles to go on the walk with Georgie today. It's like really cold. All right. Quick announcement here. Please, okay, a couple things. Please ask more questions. Yeah, so ask more questions. Let's get some going here. I see we have about 51 people, which is really cool. We have 18 likes. Someone knows what I was going to say. Can you hit the thumbs up? And if you have the opportunity, if you're watching the replay later, I know tons of people watch the replay, just leave any comment. Like any comment is good for people to like help find the video and have interaction on the video. So that's really cool. Other thing is if you're not on the email list, you could please not just sign up for the email list. That's what I'm trying to say. Sign up for the email list. There's a link in the description below. So all you have to do is click, enter your email. You should be good to go. And you'll get a free mini course next week. And then I will also inform you the following week, there is 5-figure niche site opens for enrollment. There are a number of students in the chat right now, and it's a good course. So if you're interested in starting a site and accelerating the process, right? You can do this without taking the course. In fact, all the success stories, all the people that I published their success stories like last week, they're using the KGR. They weren't even students, right? So they weren't even students. However, I think in a lot of ways, you can accelerate the process and you get good support from me. You get interaction with me. And I give I'll be honest with you. I give much better answers than the it depends answers here because I can be a little bit more exact with the information that I'm giving. So these Q&As are hopefully helpful. And I think every now and then you get some good information. I will tell you it's tough sometimes to answer generic questions. I just don't have enough information. It's not that I'm trying to be difficult most of the time. Maybe I am sometimes, but it's more it's just difficult to answer those questions. So I'll have to tweak the lighting again. If people missed it, John sent a gift card over and I reinvested, right? So if you send a Amazon gift card to me, I really appreciate it. And I will typically reinvest it into equipment to improve whatever it is that I'm doing to help the channel. So we have a new webcam here. It's a Logitech. I have the box right here. One of these babies, the C920. So upgraded the video quality a bit, and it allowed me. I'll shoot a video later. It allowed me to rearrange my desk a little bit. So I have a larger monitor and I only really need just like one monitor to use, but I had to have like my laptop to use the webcam on my laptop. So anyway, this allows me to have a little bit more of a streamlined desk. Theoretically, it will be less messy. However, right now, it is terrible. It looks like a huge mess. So okay, if you didn't hit the thumbs up and I answered your question and or you find me somewhat helpful, please hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, we'll get back to it here. All right. Okay. Alwyn says you have a site that's 4 months old. Most of your articles went to page 1. Now they jumped back to 3 or 4 and back and forth, and you wonder why they jump around. Maybe it's because of the sandbox. Yeah, potentially because of the sandbox, potentially because of the content. There's a lot of factors. So I was watching a few of the Whiteboard Fridays by Moz. They just showed up on my YouTube feed. YouTube knows what I like to watch. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And Rand Fishkin was pointing out like, Google looks at grammar and misspelled words and different stuff like that. So, the details can matter. Additionally, your site's only 4 months old. So some movement could be expected, right? That happens. Depends on the search terms. It depends on all that sort of stuff. And Tony says, Google issued penalties for sites using the local search stuff like bakeries in New York. and bakeries in LA if the pages were too similar. Yeah. So basically, I mean, it goes back to the idea of like, if you can make stuff more unique, it's going to be better. So thanks, Tony, for the specific information on that. Mark says, can you suggest an affiliate teardown? Generally, no, because what the issue with that is you could potentially out someone's site. And I only do sites that are already outed or like huge media sites like the Wirecutter. So generally, no. However, in the club situation that I mentioned, like the teardown club, basically it would be like a membership, right? It's a membership. You would have access to a certain pieces of like activities, right? So it would be like a couple monthly teardowns where I could actually go in depth and do like a live teardown and answer questions, go into the backlink profile and actually like go a little bit deeper. And at that point, I may be able to screen affiliate sites and stuff. But in general, I don't allow that. The other part is people will suggest their own sites and get like have me audit their sites, which I do consulting on a very small basis. But what I don't want to do is just audit people's sites. It actually is a disservice to you because if I'm auditing your site and then publishing it for hundreds of people to watch, then your site's out there and people could just copy what you're doing. And if you're not, there's some competitive advantage of like experience. So, you know, that could make a difference. But if you're a beginner and I audit your site, that means that like just about anyone can go and copy what you've done and do what I've said, and then they will be ahead of you, or at least like right behind you. Okay. Got like a dog here. I think I got it, hopefully. All right. So Mark, generally no, but in the club situation, it will be a likelihood. Thomas says, okay, slightly unique question. At least it's one we don't get every day. So thanks, Thomas, for this. When doing product reviews, what's your strategy for selecting products to recommend? I try and find stuff that has like 4 or 5 stars. So at least it's, you know, generally a good product. And the other thing, so that's factor number 1. Factor number 2, select a range of prices. Some people, they want to buy expensive stuff. Some people want to buy cheap stuff. So give them the option. And if you follow those 2 things, you should have a nice range of products. Lisa says, do I recommend in review articles to have the buying guide before the reviews? Or do you recommend to review products at the beginning of the article? All right. Usually at the end. So if someone's looking for the best ballpoint pen, then you will probably want to give them some suggestion early on, because it turns out a lot of people are not going to read everything. So if you can give them a suggestion early, that's going to be better. And then if they keep going, then you're going to, if they keep reading, then you'll be able to like give them more information and stuff like that. All right. And then we have Overdose asking, have I ever monetized a niche site with lead generation for third party, blah, blah, blah? No, I haven't. It's a reasonable business model. I know a lot of people do really well. It's called CPA in a lot of circles, and it works well. And John the 10th Man says it's 74. And John, thanks for chatting with John earlier. Another success story. I'm hopefully going to talk to you next week, John, and you'll be hopefully on the channel real soon after that. So Lisa says, a couple of days ago, you found the KGR Rule of 63 article and found it interesting and will definitely try it out. Have I tested it myself? So no. However, I wish I had like, there's so many videos on the channel. There's almost 500 videos that I've published. And I said this. It is my like the KGR is my formula, and when you basically all it is like moving the formula around. So yeah, then it's 62.5, or if you round up to 63, and yeah, basically it's another way to look at it. And I would say it generally works because it's the same formula. Yeah. So I haven't tried it out specifically in that framing, but kudos to Human Proof Designs for writing the guest post. And then my friend Matt, they're all my friends, right? They're all my friends. It's all good. And I mean, I think that's great that I talked about something enough that people made up another rule that is so derivative of it that, you know, it's kind of, it's flattering. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. Thomas says, what are the best practices if you should know index any pages on an Amazon affiliate site? You know what? I don't pay too much attention. I think if you like know index, say like your disclaimer page, like, because there could be a lot of similar text or copy on others. And I don't, like I said, I don't pay too much attention to it. So I think it's fine if you don't, but you could index a couple pages that were like those common sort of pages like that. Rose says you found a great KGR term and it's so tempting to rank for it. Yeah, basically, anytime, and I think John and I were talking about this earlier, and essentially, anytime someone asks like, well, I have this KGR term and here are the metrics. Would you go for it? Yes. Basically every time the answer is yes. I know it's beyond the 250 rule, but like you're saying, there's only 8 results. Now, the thing that you have to look for, the thing that tells you if it's going to work or not, you need to Google it and to see what comes up. So you got to Google the term without the all in title. You have like the metric of the KGR to know that it should be okay. But if you Google it and you see results that, you don't expect, then, so for example, like if you Google it and then you find that stuff is ranking that doesn't have like the title in there at all, and like they're not using it, and Google is somehow looking at some other factor, right? Maybe they are rephrasing it and they're changing one word to a different one. That's possible. And the thing is, like, you should probably do this at a scale, in scale, right? So there's a volume of these, and some of them are going to work and some of them aren't. So Rose, yeah, go for it. Hiking Gear Lab says, which plagiarism checker am I recommending? I'm not recommending any. So I don't use them enough to really know. I know that Copyscape, a lot of people use Copyscape, seems to be quite popular. And then for a little while, I was using Grammarly, and it was, anyone use Grammarly out there, by the way? So like I was trying to use it with like within WordPress, and it was just like it was messing up my formatting and stuff. So I stopped using it because I was like trying to just take advantage of like the grammar, all the features and stuff, which seemed good, but at the end of the day, I was very frustrated with the usability. And I don't know if it was just on my site, but I was not interested in continuing to use it. And Tony says, is it okay to share this with some of your Facebook groups? Do you mean this video right now? And if so, yeah, everybody share anything of my any video I have, share it all over the place. That is exactly thanks for asking though, Tony. Yeah, that is an ongoing request. If you share this, that is that is even better than the comment or anything like that. And by the way, I see we're pushing 60 people, and maybe when Tony gets the word out, we'll have I'm not sure how many people will come over, but I mean, we're getting more and more, which is cool. But what I was going to say is, if you have the opportunity, if I answered your question or anything like that, can you hit the thumbs up? Would really appreciate it. All right. So, and yeah, anyone can please share a lot. Alwyn says, how many posts do you recommend on a niche site? For example, if you're planning on making $1,000 a month, how many KGR posts would you aim for that? You will invest soon. Okay. I don't know, but Ellen had a formula. So Ellen was a guest. I interviewed her last week. She has a formula that she is, I guess it holds true for the data that she has. Now, we talked a bit off camera. Actually, we talked a lot off camera about some additional details. But the thing is, my hunch is this is a formula that has a window of accuracy, right? So if you're thinking of like a graph, there's going to be parts of it where it's accurate, and then the formula is going to fall apart at a certain point. So I'm going to hopefully try and draw a graph. Let me get a trusty marker here and see what we can come up with. So these graphs are a little bit funny here. So just because it's very simplistic. So hopefully everyone can see this. So here's a graph, of course. And my hunch is, of course, it's not linear, right? But just for the purposes of this. And my hunch is, like, when you first start a site, the formula is not going to work, right? There's other factors involved. And then there's some other point up here where you get so much traffic, the formula will also fall apart. Now, it depends on a variety of factors, the cost of products, the number of searches, all that kind of stuff. And you could probably figure out an ROI if you had enough data. But my hunch is there's going to be a sweet spot where the formula is accurate, like pretty accurate. And then at some point, it's going to not be accurate. Otherwise, one could just keep adding more and more content. And then you would just continue to grow. But at some point, you would potentially run out of keyword golden ratio terms. Now, the other thing that could happen is, in a good way, right? You could rank number one for a term that is not a KGR term. It gets more searches. So it would all of a sudden like explode your earnings and growth. And the formula wouldn't account for that. So when you start ranking for terms that aren't KGR terms, or actually more competitive terms, you'll make like way more money. Okay. So Alwyn, yeah, I really don't know. If you're planning on making $1,000, I would say, aim for. Here's the thing, right? We probably all of us would prefer to make more money, no matter what amount, even if we're, like modest and we're not like blowing our money on expensive things. You'd want to make more. So my suggestion is, add, like, reinvest, start adding more content and just keep adding more content. And if it keeps working, keep reinvesting. If you are not seeing the growth that you're expecting, then, scale it back a little bit. But I would say if you're just aiming for like $1,000, you could probably publish 50 articles, and you probably, just totally a guess, no clue. Henry says, you ranked for a keyword using the keyword golden ratio and ranked number 8 for a keyword. Congratulations. Do I think it's going to hit rank anytime soon? Not 100% sure what you're asking, but I'm assuming hit number 1 is probably what you're asking. And I don't know. So I would say if you don't do anything, and it's still in the sandbox period, then potentially it could move up. But my suggestion would be to add more content to it, and then it'll probably move up. And Lance is mentioning that your KGR isn't ranking at all with your 1 month old site. Yeah, so it's pretty young. And Lance, I sent you an email. Lance is a student and a kind moderator, so I appreciate that. But basically, you know, Lance, hopefully you got the email and you can take action. And then I think in a week or so, you should be in good shape. Okay, and Greg has a question. You bought a domain that had big traffic in 2010 with a lot of pages in first place. You might, like, I might have some trouble because of that. Maybe you had PBNs? Question mark. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if someone was, here's the thing: if you bought a domain where someone used to be doing well and making money and then they sold it for whatever reason, or if it was expired, there's a reason for it. And yeah, it's probably not helpful. All right. Wesley is asking a tax question. So when you sold your site, was that taxed at long term capital gains? No. It was just income. So I think I think it was just income. Actually, now that you're mentioning it, I talked to my accountant a couple weeks ago. Um, so she may have, I can't remember, but in general, the other site that I sold, it was just income. All right. Top motivational videos. What do I think of Word AI and Article Forge? Are those any sort of automating like word spinners? If so, I don't think anything about them. I don't use them. And I think if you are using them, you should have a very specific reason for using them. Otherwise, it's probably a bad idea. Theo says, do you know what role 404 errors play in the ranking of your site? On the 4th of this month, your post dropped minimally in rankings, like from 3rd to 4th. And you saw an increase to 24 404 errors just before the drop. You know what? I don't know. 404, it's better not to have the 404 errors. Okay. As far as like impacting your rankings, I'm not 100% sure if those two are like completely related, but the timing of it seems like they are. And I know that, for like having a site that's not well organized with a bunch of 404 errors is not great. But I mean, there are, like, let's say there's a piece of content on, actually, this is probably going to happen, right? So on Niche Site Project, there's some posts that, I could probably go back and look at that I wrote, 3-4 years ago and realize that they're not very good. And I may want to get rid of them, and maybe I don't have content to replace them. Well, maybe that's a 404, like like the page doesn't exist anymore because, well, it was bad content. So, that is something that could be a real thing that could happen. Um, and it may not be a bad thing. So I'm not sure. I would investigate the 404s, of course. All right. Palash says your keywords are increasing in rankings. You're getting 3 to 5 sales per day. Congratulations. Your site is 5 months old, so thanks for giving you suggestions. Awesome, Palash. That's great. Thank you. All right. Tony says, according to 2 different keyword tools, the keyword golden ratio is no longer a KGR term. Until recently, it was less than 200 searches. Now it's 314. The next skyscraper technique. Interesting. How about that? That's funny. All right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow, there's a lot of chat stuff happening going on here. All right. I answer so slow. I need to go faster. Hey, quick question. So I'm the keyword golden ratio is interesting, right? There's like 60 people here. A lot of people are interested in it. People like several people are saying, "Hey, this thing works," and I'm not 100% sure how I want to frame this, but I may need some help. I may need like a, what they call a street team, or basically just to help me like get the word out on it a little bit. So if you are interested in that, I'll probably, I'm not going to ask for, you to do anything right now, but I may do a video where I'm just like, hey, I'm going to need your help. And here is, a Google Doc where we can organize some stuff. But I'm thinking like I'm getting enough traction and I have just enough people that I'm talking to that I may be able to, bring it out to a larger venue, if you know what I mean. So just people watch out for that. I know there's a lot of folks on here. So I may need your help and I may ask you. So if I've helped you, then it may be a good opportunity where you can give me a hand as well. All right. And okay, as we're going through, so some people do use Grammarly, and some people some people don't. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. So Tony says it flags non-issues all the time with WordPress plugins and can break your code. Interesting. Oh, and Lucas says Plagium is another free alternative to Copyscape. So it looks like generally people do enjoy Grammarly. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. It was like whenever I was in WordPress and I would hit return, it would like add two returns. Like it was something weird, and it would just, yeah, it wasn't cool. It's funny. Another another random. How many people would be offended if like cussed and sweared through the live streams and stuff? Because here's the thing, I worked in a corporate setting for a lot of years, and I was in a lot of meetings. And after my first couple years, when I was trying to figure out like what the hell to do, generally I'm just like, I try and be like really professional. So I have a very good filter on not swearing. However, I cuss all the time. So for whatever reason this morning, I'm like, most of the time when when I pause while I'm talking, it's because I'm editing out some sort of expletive. So it's just kind of funny. So if people don't mind, I would, these would be just, it would be like a Navy ship or something like that with me swearing over here. Okay, let's get back on topic. No wonder I get so behind. Rose says, do I use the tactic of posting great comments under the blog post? So no, I don't. Hiking Gear says, please tell whether YouTube commenting will help ranking of a connected website. Don't know. All right. And Duke is on. What's up? So what I was going to say is my hunch about YouTube commenting will help rank a connected site. I doubt it unless you get like a lot of traffic going through. So I believe it's probably like one of those situations where if you get a lot of links coming or a lot of visitors coming through the link, that's a good thing. But if not, then it probably doesn't matter too much. Rose says, what I recommend using donations for backlinks like on apache.net and xchat.org and so on. Probably not. I think if you have like one or two links, like a very super small percentage of, links like that, it's probably okay. I don't know if it'll really help, but it's probably okay. I wouldn't do a lot of that because it could, cause issues for you. John says, what's a good average minutes you want a reader to be reading a post on the site? Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, it depends. I mean, you want them to be on there for a while, but a lot of the KGR posts are like very specific questions. So a person can like get the answer quick, learn the product quick, and then go over to Amazon. So I think a lot of times, the average time on my site is like a minute or something like that. It's not long. I wish it was longer. However, when I go to certain posts, which are like very long form, 10,000 words, say, you see they're there for like 5 minutes, which is a very long time. So it depends, but it's hard to say. Okay. Hiking Gear Lab says when you someone said like write it yourself and then you know that it's not copied. Hiking Gear Lab is hiring people from Upwork, which is what I do. And you have to check the article with copy content checker. You had a bad experience recently. So either I never checked or I just assumed that I was hiring professionals, which I was. I mean, I generally hire people that have like a journalism background. So they're probably not going to like copy stuff. That's my hunch because they have like professional integrity. So if you're paying a crappy rate, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're paying low wages and you're not hiring professionals, you're hiring people that are just like dabbling and they don't actually are not good writers and stuff, then yeah, you're going to have issues. So I think you'll be able to work through it and you'll figure it out. I think if you hire 4 people, you may end up with just like one good one. Rose says, do I use ntopic to see if you use the right terms to rank on Google? No, I don't know what that is. And Jaren says, you got back from breakfast. Okay. Did I have a chance to read your email? No. Will you re-ask it? Sorry. I don't have it open. Lance says you're reviewing all the posts, and you're cleaning them up, and you're going to add a lot of content, pictures, and links. Cool. That's perfect. I think, we had the primary issue, Lance, that we talked about. And then I think, some of the articles were short and it's a process, right? So you have time, you have all the time in the world to add more content and, words, pictures, links, images, which are the same as pictures, videos, whatever. So you'll be fine at that point. Okay. Hold on. Man, the chat window. Oh, all right. Thomas says, what are the 1 or 2 best things to pay attention to in the search console? Are impressions important to keep tabs on? You know what? I don't look much in the search console, and I probably should. So I would say the most important thing is to see what you're ranking for certain pages where you can potentially add content, right? So if you're ranking for a certain term that you're not even targeting, but you don't even like have a section on it and you're ranking for it, then you can, beef up your content with the sort of information that Google already thinks may be there. So that would be the number one thing, hugely effective. It's an old school, tactic, and you can do that with SEMrush, but some of the data is actually in the search console. So that's what you should pay attention to. My man Derek, thanks for hopping on. You found that interlinking the KGR through the site spreads the link juice, giving you more bang for the buck. Yes, Derek, you're 100% right. And the funny thing is I spend more time just convincing people that it works, that I can't even get to any advanced topics like that. But if you interlink, here's the reason why it works. Here's the golden nugget, 50 some odd minutes into this. By the way, if you haven't liked the video, could you please hit the thumbs up? You're going to like what I'm about to say. So here's the thing. Wouldn't it be great if you can get a link from a post that is ranking for a term in, say, like the top 20 or something? If you could just get a guest post or get a link inserted on a site on a specific URL that's ranking in Google, that's a good sign, right? That's a really good sign. Everyone would want to have a link from a page that's ranking. Well, guess what? If you are implementing the keyword golden ratio, you probably have keywords that are ranking. You probably have a lot of URLs on your site that are ranking. So if you add a link on your own site to other posts, then you get that link. You can control it. So, that is this, that's the secret, right? So the keyword golden ratio works pretty well. If you start doing interlinking and you're adding more content, you're continuing to interlink, then that's when you see like some crazy growth. Okay, and Rose is saying you're working on the silo tactic for internal backlinks since the webinar I did yesterday. Cool. And just remember, you don't have to do the real like silo and the architecture stuff. It's all about the interlinking. So just do that. Okay, and Overdose has a thing. You love the natural, honest delivery and style of post. This is a good way to state this, by the way. But you're not sure you like seeing my bed. Newbies are not familiar with your channel and the great content. It may seem too laid back. Cool. The interesting part, this is the office, right? This is the guest bedroom here as well. It was my office. And my wife said she wanted to have a guest bed. So I said, okay. So that's the story why there's a bed right behind me. And frankly, I hate that it's here because I think it looks terrible. So we all have constraints to deal with, and I'm in my guest bedroom. So I could like turn things around a little bit, but it's actually kind of small. So there's not much room. But thank you for the feedback. I agree with you 100%. All right. Rose says, do you work your article to get a chance at becoming the featured snippet? Basically, if you need to have like sort of rich formatting. So if you have a table, if you have bullet points, if you have numbered lists, you have a better chance of being the featured snippet. And you need to have like really well written content. John's on, what's up? All right, Tony says your game with helping get the word out on KGR, fantastic. John says you don't have an issue with cussing. Success Roller Coaster says the cussing isn't bad for you, but AdSense won't put ads on it anymore. Rose says I can say all the bad words. You went. Duke was a truck driver for 23 years. Nice. All right. Joe says stay professional. It reflects. All right, cool. So the interesting thing, I don't run ads at all, so I don't care about the AdSense. See, the funny thing is you have to have so many views on AdSense or so many views on your videos. Like if I turned on AdSense and ran ads, it'd be, I don't know, like $20 a month or something. And it would just be it would be a bad experience. I recently just started paying for YouTube Red, and it's great because I don't have to watch the ads anymore. So yeah, I don't care about the ads. And Joe says stay professional, it reflects. So I tend to agree mostly, and then I think if I do cuss occasionally, then it has more of an impact than if I just like cussed all the time. And Tony mentions let's see. Tony says Gary Vee has mainstreamed it. Yeah. And the only problem, they may flag it for mature audiences only. And actually that would kind of be fine. I mean, I was answering back a question on a couple a comment came through, and I was like, I acted like I was talking to an intelligent person. All right, I'll be honest with you. I acted like I was talking to an intelligent person because that's the assumption that I make. And then when they were answering back, I was like, I could be arguing. No offense if we have younger folks here, but like I could be arguing with a 15-year-old person who doesn't know anything, right? And I'm like, why am I even trying to reason with this person? It's like I'm negotiating with a toddler, right? They can't use logic, and it just doesn't make sense. So I just stepped back and I was like, all right, man, whatever you say. So, um, anyway, as we go through here, yeah, I'll probably continue to keep it clean. Occasionally, I'll throw something out. John says you get KGR with all in title versus the local monthly searches, but how does it relate to Google search queries method? I don't know what the Google search queries method is. So if you want to rephrase that, John, give me a little more context. Thomas says, answers to my last several questions. KW Finder is not reliable. Grammarly is great. And you like professionalism, but you're not offended. Cool. And lay some eggs, which, man, is it Melissa? I forget. You work at a fish plant, so every third word is a swear word, and you could care less. Okay. All right, Ravi, what's up? Good to have you on. How much return products is not too much? Lately, every day you have a few products that are returned, and it's not just products from your niche. I don't know. Here's the thing. You can't control any of the returned products. So especially if it's not from your niche, then there's nothing you could do about it. I have a lot of return products. So I mean, since there's nothing you could do about it, it's best just to move on. All right. Prep Mesh says if you just found the KGR term best petrol hatchback cars in the USA, and when you search it on Google, the first 10 results came up having the best cars in the USA. So obviously their words count. Okay. So in that is an example that I may use in the future because like it seems like that's a great KGR term, but no one would use that phrase in the US like at all. No one would ever say best petrol hatchback. No one says that. So like that is it's a great example, Pratt Mesh, because like if you put that in, best cars in the US is what's going to pop up. So that's a perfect example because it seems like it's a good term, but no one talks like that. No one would search for that. All right. Hiking Gear Lab asks about Upwork. I do fixed contract for writing. Pratt Mesh said it would be very large in the first page of Google, doesn't have any search results, having the KGR title. Then should you consider that nobody is targeting that term? Yep. Okay. So sorry. Jaren says, and that's J and K for people that don't know. That's Jaren from the interview from last week. So Jaren wrote an article, the best of posts featuring 5 products. Have I ever had issues with keyword cannibalization when also writing separate reviews for each product? For example, writing a post, best ballpoint pens, and then a separate post where you reviewed the pens you highlighted in the best of post. Not specifically that, no. However, a lot of times I don't target like the review post for a particular item just in general. Just I don't go for those very often. So it could happen. My suggestion, Jaren, is to publish it, see how Google reacts to it, see what ranks where, and then you may have to wait like 2-3 months to see how it settles out. And then once you have the data, if you find that your best product post is ranking, then just move the content over and then 301 redirect it. So best way to do it is get the results and then you can adjust after you get the results. Okay. And then Rose is telling me that ntopic .org checks the first 10 results on Google and then lets you know all the terms that need to be added so you can improve your content to rank number one. It gives you a content relevancy score. Cool. It sounds interesting. I've never used it, but I'd be interested to hear how it works for you. Andrew says, please talk about anchor text when blog commenting. Should I use just my name? Generally, yes. And then Rose is saying you researched that topic and apparently you need to comment on blogs in your niche and you need to choose a different relevant anchor like SEO tag, blah, 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 all anchor text relevant to your blog post. So I would say, I think the opposite of that. So when people comment on my blogs and they put a keyword in, I mark it as spam because that's what it is. So if you do that, you're going to have a very low success rate. Now, if you're trying to do something a little bit different, which Andrew, I think you're asking what I would do, you put in your name because you don't want to seem like you're spamming the internet. You want to have a, a relevant, helpful, participate in the conversation, right? You don't want to spam the internet. So Rose, don't do that. That's a bad idea. All right. Okay. Let's see. AZ says you appreciate the language filter. It's easier to listen in public and recommend to others. Cool. Okay. And Neil Patel says, is Google AdSense and Amazon affiliate marketing done by the same website? Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. If you want to. Success Roller Coaster says income school, new video just popped up. Great timing. Doug, almost done. All right. Greatest reviews. What's up? Adam says, how do I create tables on your site? Well, I don't have a ton of tables. Be honest with you. I don't have a whole lot of them, but I recommend HTML table generator. Arvin says, with so many similar long tail keywords, do I create articles for each, even if they are redundant? Yeah, generally I do, but if they can serve the same, or if the articles serve different types of searchers, then yeah, for sure. But yeah, generally I publish more and then back it down. Now, Derek mentions, let's see, be careful. YouTube filters are now pulling videos for profanity, but personally you're cool with it. Good to know. And I think since I mean, it's fine to keep it clean. So, and so for some, for some people, it is slightly offensive and it's easier. People are usually not offended by the lack of swearing. So it's just easy. It's the least common denominator that's like, the best route anyway. All right. Oh, Blue Fuse, other Doug. Cool. And Neil asks a personal question. What's my monthly income for Amazon affiliate marketing? So I don't share that. But one thing that I did publish, there was one site that I made like 70K in 2017. So it is interesting that people just ask that. Neil, how much money do you make? All right, Tony, after the Christmas rush, you actually ended up in the red on Amazon due to returns in January. Dang. One niche gets 20 times the traffic of any month from Black Friday to December 31st, and January is really slow. That's insane. Crazy. Blue Fuse says last month, or sorry, you got to say you made your first Amazon affiliate dollars last week. Amazing milestone. You have to credit the KGR with playing a big role in accomplishing it. Fantastic. And it is interesting to me because I know this is becoming more and more interesting to me because I know a lot of people buy courses from other folks and then apparently it's not good enough. And then they watch my free content And apparently I do better support and have better information than the paid courses. So that makes me feel pretty good. It also makes me feel like I'm doing something a little bit wrong, but and we only have 41 likes. That hurts. All right, we're continuing to go on here. Rose says, let's say you have 4 KGR terms for the same theme. Do you recommend you put them in one article and blah, blah, blah? No, the KGR works because you put it in the title. So you need to put it in the title. Hi says, someone said something about their site not ranking well last week, and I suspected it was something about the homepage affecting the article. Is that a common problem we should be aware of? I don't remember the specific question, but if it's like the person had affiliate content on their homepage, or you know, not a real homepage, then that could be a factor. I don't remember exactly, but the other part is like when you are just launching a site, you may see some kind of weird rankings initially. So their homepage may have ranked because like there was a little snippet, a little excerpt on the homepage of the article. So like that homepage article, or sorry, the homepage could rank for that term because it was just on that term. And actually, now that you're asking the question, I think it could have been Lance, and I think I figured it out in like just a minute or two. All right. So hi. Yeah, I mean, you should be aware of everything. I'm not sure. John says, you're rephrasing the question. Say people are searching for best yellow shoes in the US and Google displays tens of thousands of related pages, and your page has the term all in title. Basically, it doesn't matter, right? If you just follow the keyword golden ratio, it's fine. So whatever you're thinking may come into play, doesn't. So don't worry about it. Jay Bonner says, when interlinking posts, is it best to use the exact keyword phrase or a variation, or do both? Probably a variation. Josh Brown, what's up? If you want to make a modest income of $1,000 a month, how much should I expect to spend on guest posts each month during the ramp up period? As much or as little as you want. So, Josh, haven't seen you around in a little while, but check out the videos from last week, the success. I'm not sure if I put a link in the description, but there are a few keyword golden ratio success stories, and you could make $1,000 a month without doing any links, but you could also spend as much money as you want on, guest posts if you want to. All right. And Josh Shogren, what's up? So Josh is he was featured, he's actually in the 5-Figure Niche Site course. So good to have you on. Glad you're enjoying the live streams. And I'm trying to remember, Josh, did we do an interview also and publish it on the blog? It's been a while, but good to see you on. David says your site is all about reviews. You're basically writing them back to back and don't have time or ideas to write informational posts. Is that going to kill your chances for getting more traffic? Not necessarily, but it's not the best thing to have. So I would say you should make time, and I would aim for like 50% informational posts. And in fact, you may be better off. I mean, you may be able to like rank more posts that are informational and then eventually get more traffic to your whole entire site. So to say you don't have time, but if you have time to write reviews, then you have time to write informational articles. And the best way to, go to one of your competitor sites, put them into SEMrush, look for how-to articles. Those are your informational articles. So you need to put informational articles. Okay, Pratt Mesh says you just took cars in it as an example for the previous one. You found similar keywords and it does have 50 to 70 monthly searches. Should you go for it? If it's like the example that you gave before, no, don't go for it. If it is, yeah, I'm not really sure. Um, yeah, basically, the example you gave before is like a classic example of what you should not go for. Okay, All Wayne says, yes, it's true. My free content is better than most courses. You went through a course once and it was the worst. Cool. Thanks. Okay. And Duke says, oh, it's just people patting me on the back. I'll always read these out. Thanks for doing it. Duke says, you paid to watch another person do a case study going from 0 to 10K per month from scratch. After about 10 weeks, they stopped and seemed to have lost interest. Interesting. It was supposed to be an over the shoulder case study. Okay. If you want to mention who it is, you can if you want. Lance says your homepage was ranking for a KGR term. Now it doesn't rank at all. Not sure which is worse. Okay, Lance, in like everything makes sense now. And like I said, make the change that I sent you in the email and it should be fine because basically the page that you were trying to rank, the on-page SEO is so bad that it was never going to rank. And then your homepage did instead. So that's why, because the title was on the homepage in the excerpt, and that's why that ranked. And then your other page didn't, because like the on-page SEO was just too out of line. Justin says, how much content do you put on your sites before you index them? I index them immediately. Josh says, what's the average you recommend spending on a guest post acquisition? What about a monthly guest post budget? Again, I mean, as much or as little as you want, you can do your, you could basically budget whatever you have available, or if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to. So, there's too many variables involved, Josh. I'm not really sure. Adam says, do links go to Amazon.com, or do I also have a redirect if they come from another country? No, I don't have a redirect. There are tools that'll help you, geo target properly, but I'm finding I'm having trouble like caching checks. So I may not get into it. Okay. Hi says, it explains it well, but I thought it might be something like the snippet of an article. Oh yeah. That's totally it. Hi. Yeah. Josh says, are you saying some of the KGR success stories are not using any backlinks and still they're making like 3,000 per month, Josh? Yeah, it is insane. Yeah. You gotta get on it, Josh, for sure. Yeah. Jay Bonner says, no microbrew today. No. Not right now. It's 11 in the morning. So probably later. When I went to Colorado, did people watch the Colorado vlog? Do people like the vlogs, by the way? When I went to Colorado, they have great bottle shops down there. So I just went to the closest one to my friend's place and got like a lot of beer, brought some back from my friends, and then we're going to do like a tasting, but I just like moved some stuff around, put it in the fridge. So yeah, I'll probably have a few more beers. And then last night was actually the homebrew club meeting. So went to a brewery, had a few beers, a little tired today, I'll be honest. And okay, Duke, thanks for the info there. Just curious. Pratt Mesh says, do I write articles for info KGR terms? Yes, sure do. Carlos, what's up? And Carlos, by the way, I saw that you did send me Facebook messages. I just don't do Facebook messages. There's too much going on. I get too many emails anyway for like just random questions, which those are fine, by the way. But like Facebook Messenger, I want to throw the app out the window. So sorry I didn't answer it, but I just can't do it. How many articles a month for a news site is a good target? Okay. You could just start with 10, right? So just start with 10 articles and that's fine. You don't have to yeah, you don't have to publish on an ongoing basis. You just have to like publish the right stuff. And Josh says, can I recommend any keyword golden ratio researchers or providers that can do it for you? I think Human Proof Designs does it, but I think they stopped. I think they stopped like providing any affiliate revenue. So if you go to them, I think they'll give you keyword golden ratio terms, but I get no credit for it, which is sad. But my suggestion, Josh. So you were blown away. I'm going to be hard on you, Josh. Do you want the real deal here? You want me to do you some coaching live right here? Yeah. So Rose says Human Proof Designs offers a service, but I think they discontinued giving me any affiliate commissions for that sort of referral, which is sad. It's my thing, you know? All right. So Josh, you were impressed that someone is making like 3,000 per month or even 1,000 per month just from KGR articles with no backlinks. All right. So Josh said he wants the real deal. So this is why I'm going to say this. So you immediately looked for a shortcut, man. You're trying to get someone else to do the research, and the person that is making $3,000 a month, right? She's looking all this stuff up by hand. It's just a spreadsheet. She's looking at it all by hand. She's doing a lot of the writing. She's like managing a few writers to help her write more content. So she's working really hard. And if you're immediately, Josh, if you're immediately trying to figure out how you can not do the work that gets you there, then it's not going to work, man. It's just not going to work for you. So at least find, I mean, if you just find 50 of them, it'll take you maybe 5 hours, divided up over 2 weeks, half hour a day or something like that. And then you'll find like 50 articles. It'll take a while for those to be written and everything. But if you're looking for a shortcut, like at the like very foundation of what you got to do, it's not going to work for you. So just find a few of them. And then once you find some more, then you should be in good shape. Makes sense, Josh? All right. Derek says after, oh, sorry, I missed a question here. In Rose, you know what? It's fine. I think for like Human Proof Designs, like they just adjusted how they were doing their affiliate program. So if I understood it right, yeah, that's the deal. But you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, and by the way, they're not like not paying me what they owe me. Everything's good. It's just like they changed the affiliate program. So, all right, Derek. Oh, sorry, I missed the question again. David says, is 4,000 unique visitors per month decent for a 10-month-old site? 4,000. I don't know. That seems fine. I'm not really sure. It depends on a lot of factors, right? So I don't know what you put into it or anything like that. All right. Derek says, after you publish general content, do I practice content promotion? If yes, could I give a quick example? Yeah. So basically, what I'm looking at is high touch outreach. So Derek, what I'm doing is commenting on blogs, right? Comment a few times. I'll sign up for their email list, email them a couple times. And Derek, I know you know the I guess the process of this. Email a couple times. Don't ask for anything. Be cool. They'll know your name. They'll see you around. Maybe you share some stuff on social. Maybe you link. Here's a great one. If you link to one of their articles and just say, hey, I mentioned you in an article. Hope it's okay if you want to take a look. Let me know if you want any changes. So you're kind of asking permission, but really you're telling them, hey, I just linked to your article. And then at that point, like, you have a rapport with them, you have a relationship, they know who you are, and you will stand out over any of the other people that would ask for a guest post. And then you would ask for a guest post. And that is the promotion that I'm typically doing. Ask for a guest post, and at that point, at worst, you're going to get a polite no because you're cool, you're a fan, right? They know who you are, versus the dozens of emails we probably all get asking for, hey, will you link for my site, like link to my site? Do you accept guest posts? The answer is no. I don't know who you are. Crazy. So anyway, that is a high touch. 3-4 interaction points, usually enough. It takes a few more weeks to ramp up, but when I did this before, 2 to 3 weeks of like no links, and then it was like 20 links over the next weeks because of all the preparation and all the relationship building up front. Okay. And then Duke says, you're not sure what's going on with Human Proof. They stopped podcasting regularly, stopped adding new content, and it makes you wonder. Interesting. That is weird. And I think I know their operations guys in my productivity course, as well as Dom, of course. But I sent Dom an email like last week, and I haven't heard back, I don't think, but it could be on vacation or something like that. I think Dom may travel a decent amount. Okay. And Derek says, relationship building, simple, but you like it. Yep. And it sounds scalable. Yeah. And like once you get the process down, it sounds complicated. There's a lot of steps, right? There's a lot of waste. There's a lot of waste too, in that, you comment on blogs and a lot of them are not going to be approved. And then you email people. A lot of them are not going to reply back. However, if you sign up for their email list and then you reply that back to that email, then they're going to probably read the email. They really like it when you read their emails. All right. It seems like we're almost getting close to wrapping up. So if you have more questions, let me know. Pratt Mesh says, any kind of tips on what kind of keyword golden ratio terms not to go for? Well, like I said, Pratt Mesh, like the example that you gave before is like the perfect example of what not to go for. So when I'll say it again. I think I already mentioned it, but I'll say it again for you. When you find a term, you can Google it and see what comes up. And if you see things that you don't expect to see, then you probably shouldn't go for it. And again, your example was perfect because it appeared like it was a great term, but it was a term that no one would actually use. So it's a bad term. And it's like no one would use it, and Google knows no one would phrase it that way. No one calls it a Petrol hatchback, right? Just, we don't call it that. Okay. So Duke says, question from yesterday. All right, nice. When brands reach out to you with a request to review their product, you said they offer a product for free. Not always, but yeah, that is normal. What if you promote yourself in being unbiased? How would you respond to possibly getting a link? You know what? Can you rephrase that? I'm not 100% sure. What if you promote yourself in being unbiased? Yeah, can you rephrase? Just not following. I'm sorry. John says, how much do I trust the sales stats from Amazon? And it looks like they're getting rid of the not sold items metric. I think I trust the sales stats pretty good. I trust Amazon blindly, basically. Justin says, any tips for finding good niches on Amazon that's not dead? I mean, people buy all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, if you just look at products and niches that seem to have, plenty of different options and plenty of reviews and stuff, just over 10 reviews, a lot of products may have thousands of reviews, but if there's over 10, you have some hunch that people are buying them. So the key is like to be able to brand your site like broadly enough so that you have like some flexibility to add products in the future. But I would say there's very few like dead um, niches. And in fact, I'm actually going to shoot a video later on Google Trends. So you could take a look at Google Trends and see, what you could learn if something is like on the decline over the several years. It may not be great to go for it. Lance says, when will the session from yesterday be posted on YouTube? Unsure. Probably a few weeks. But if you have the link, Lance, you could watch the replay. So you should be able to just watch the replay. Okay, Duke is saying no incentives. So when brands reach out, they said, what if, so what if they don't offer the product or something like that? So how would you respond to possibly get a link? I'm still not, I don't have the full context. Sorry, Duke. I'm not sure. But I mean, I think like in general, like if they contact you, like you have an opening, right? You have an opening. And I think, for me, I would just like once you have the relationship and you do your part or whatever, then just straight up ask. And you could do it on the front side if you wanted to and just say, hey, it'd be great. I'll write the review and I'll promote it on social. And it would be great if you linked from your site back to mine and you could see how they react up front. Okay. So in other words, they're offering an incentive with the product, yet you're promoting unbiased reviews. Well, if you are sent a free product, like per FTC guidelines, you do need to put like, hey, they sent me a free product. These are my own thoughts, though. You'll see those all over the place. And yeah, I mean, I think, if you put you got it free, then you're fine. You can say, hey, I just want to buy it. I'll buy it. And that's, maybe that's a good thing. You could say, hey, I'll buy it. I'll put a review on Amazon. And since I'm paying for it, then like you can truly give a review and you could say, hey, I bought this. I didn't get a free copy, whatever. And then, at that point, you're just a person doing a review on a product that you own. And depending on the product, you may or may not want to do that, right? If it's something you're into and you could use it, then that's cool. Like for me, the snow shovel may be helpful right now because it just keeps snowing. And it's like, what's the date? It's April 6th. On Easter, it snowed like 7 inches here. It's crazy. All right. David says, if I want to rank a page that is a product review, should I have review in the keyword? Because it's kind of impossible to insert that word naturally in the content. Okay. So you don't have to. What I would recommend, David, is to check out other posts and see what they do. So look at your competition, look at what they do, and then you can get an idea. My hunch is if you have review in the title and then, you mention review somewhere in the content, like that's probably enough, right? You don't have to put it in all over the place. Duke, does that make sense, by the way? And then further, David, I think, if you go check out the competition, then you'll get a pretty good idea about what's going on. All right. So it's either very quiet. All right. We're at 49 likes and we had a lot of people on for a long time. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up, we can get to 50. I'm sure in the replay, someone will click it over. We will be 50 likes. All right, cool. And I think we're wrapping it up. Yeah, well, let's just end it now. All right, everyone, look out for the mini course coming out next week via email. It's free. You just have to be on the email list. There will be another webinar. We're going to do the live stream on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. There's going to be a webinar on Thursday, another live stream on Friday. We're going to use this beautiful new camera. Thanks again, John, for doing that. Thanks, moderators. We had Lance and Duke, at least, maybe even other people too, but appreciate it. It does keep order in here, and that's great. There's always trolls out there, always trolls. Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.